I just received a big long message from James Handy over on Discord. And he's asked some very deep and very serious questions. I also simultaneously received a video from Brad about Project PIABA, P-I-A-B-A, however you say that, PIABA, I guess. And it's all about leaves in your tank. So I wanted to try to combine these two because they're linked together. Let's start with James and what he has to say. He says, "Fatherfish, maybe I've lost my mind. I'm not sure, but I've been thinking about the deep dirted substrate. All right. First 2 inches of sand has aerobic conditions because oxygenated water can pass through. We know that's good for beneficial bacteria and plant roots. Bottom 1 inch layer of dirt has no water movement, which creates anaerobic conditions. When first set up, is full of nutrients, which are good for our plants. Since there's no water movement in the dirt layer, I assume the nutrients reach the plant roots due to a leaching effect. Is that so?" Well, not exactly, James. While there is some leaching, there's also quite a lot of biological and chemical activity going on. Let's talk first about the chemical activity. When we set up the dirted system, if we're using the FATHERFISH method, we've included a number of products in that dirt that react with each other short term in a process called chelation. Iron oxide is one such element. Over a short period of time, a matter of a few months, these chemicals react with each other until they finally stabilize and the whole thing smooths itself out. There are 2 things that are important here. Number 1 is that dirt layer not be more than 1 inch deep. If it is deeper than that, it's going to create so much chemical activity that it could blow up the tank. I don't mean blow up in the sense of a bomb. I mean in the sense of fouling the tank. So the 2 inches of sand is able to contain that immediate initial process. Allow it to continue, allow it to go on, allow it to complete itself. And then there are animals and bacteria that go down into that anaerobic layer. There are actually microfauna that will dive into that feed, come back up to breathe, dive back down. So they're 2 inches down in the sand, and they're feeding in that. And as they do that, they're working it up. If you look on the side of your tank, I don't know if I have a good example here. I don't think I have a good example. Well, maybe here. See this? See the levels? Now that's dirt that has been moved up into the sand. It's not actually risen up on its own. It's not leached up. It's been drawn up by the roots of plants and by the biological activity in the tank. So it begins to, in effect, merge. Okay, there's that much. He goes on. We know that after approximately a year, the dirt is depleted of plant nutrients. So we must add nutrients back to the layer. All right, let me stop there, because the whole purpose of the supplements in the dirt is to continue that process for more than a year. The iron oxide takes upwards of a year to become accessible to the plants as an iron supplement. The same with other elements that are in there. They have to break down, they chelate, they take time. Some of them a long time before they really become accessible and available as nutrients. So this soil is lasting more than a year. In addition to which, the detritus that sifts down into the sand that gets into that dirt becomes nutrients as well. So that enriches the soil, increasing its longevity. I have tanks. I have one tank here that's 20 years old. This tank is 20 years old. There was a period of time where I was pulling so many plants out that I depleted the nutritional level. I added more plants, some more fish, and it has replenished itself to the point where it's now supporting more life. I have not needed to add anything to that soil to bring it back. So we're going to jump down a little. He says, we know that plant roots create anaerobic conditions. So why is it important to get the nutrients back down to the dirt? I would think they would start absorbing nutrients from the sand layer if they're there. And the other issue is we don't want that dirt coming in contact with the water because it will dramatically increase the soluble organics in the water and create huge algae blooms. Okay, so he says, where are non-rooting feeding plants getting their nutrients? Well, there is a certain amount of nutrition that is created by the fish that are in the tank. That's why you need to put fish in this tank right away, because the nutrients the fish are creating, the ammonia, the nitrates, the phosphates, the everything else, provide nutrition for floating or for non-rooted plants like Anubias and Java fern. So he says, why is it possible to have success with just a 2 to 3 inch sand-only substrate? Because in time, the detritus that sifts down into that sand forms that dirt layer. It forms that volume of anaerobic activity and anaerobic material that's able to process the waste into such a form as it'll be made available to the roots of plants. So I hope that answers. Let me see if there's anything else. Yeah, I think that's pretty well it. The roots are able to take nutrition out of the sand layer, but they can't do it if there's no nutrition there. So that's why we put the nutrition at the bottom. Okay, so I want to jump over now to Project PIABA, because this demonstrates exactly how these systems work in nature. This is leaf litter for leaf litter lovers. Now, look at the leaf litter on here and just think about how this is not just laying there, it is deteriorating. It's deteriorating by virtue of the mycelium, that is to say the fungus and the bacteria that are breaking it down and precipitating it more deeply into the bottom. So what you wind up with here is a very deep layer of muck, of mulm, of mud, of dirt, of soil underneath all of this litter, much of which is filtered through sand before it gets down into there. So in many cases, there's a sand layer. This is Project PIABA. It would be good if you would sign up that Project PIABA, PIABA, subscribe to this, please. There are a number of videos on here that are well worth watching. And join Project PIABA. It is a remarkable project. If you will go to their home channel, you'll find a video here that explains in detail what PIABA is all about. This is a remarkable project and one that that we all need to be supportive of. So again, I'm going to go back to the leaf litter. Let me see if I can get back to it and remind you that it is what we put in our tanks that provides the nutrition for our fish. And that's exactly what this is doing. These leaves are providing support for microfauna. Microfauna is the food that all these little tiny fish eat. That's why they're there. And their babies are able to find food as well. So they breed in it, they go down in it, they live in it, their babies grow in it. What's going on? There we go. And it's able to provide a food base, a food web for the animal life, for the fish in there. This is what you can do in your aquarium. You can build exactly this. It may look just as nasty as that. If you look at some of Paul Paulson's aquariums over on Discord, you'll see a tank that looks pretty much just like that. There are others. There are other people on Discord that have tanks that are a little prettier with a lot more plants in them, but they have the same kind of leaf litter base. What this does is provide the nutrition for the tank so that you do not need to be putting food in the tank. In fact, by putting food in the tank, you're really overloading the biological system. It supports itself. And this is what we're about. We want to teach people how to create their own bio-food web and have a genuine PIABA, actually, really, truly natural aquarium. So hang in there with us, work with us, get over to Discord, learn from us, participate in the learning because we're all doing this together. We're kind of growing up in this together. Some have been doing it for a very long time. Most of us have not. So it's new. And it's something we all can share in, can build, and can create a whole new sense of what our aquarium is really all about. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being part of this channel. We depend very much on your support in order to be able to continue making videos and finding ways to reach out to a broader range of people. We want to be able to reach the entire fish community with this message, with this story, because it's so important to understand how you can have a genuinely natural aquarium. Be sure to sign up. Be sure to click on that bell too, so that you can get all of the videos as they come out. Bye for now. See you around. I'm here all the time. Just plug in. Bye for now.